is quite right. He doesn't. He looks uncomfortable under pressure, not just the blitz, in a way that is a little bit reminiscent of the season prior to last. As you mentioned, when he is kept clean, he looks like. I mean, the second throw to Zacchaeus on the drive, where he had the one play, which was under pressure, to his credit. He rolled out, made this amazing play. The second one, he was just like bouncing back there, like like one of those video game characters, and you're waiting to choose them. And then it was a beautiful throw, beautiful, layered it over the defender, just pearl, dropping the bucket. But yeah, it feels.
Let's post it. Pin it. All right. Get situated. All right. Excuse me. How you guys doing today? Welcome. We're going to, of course, let the room fill up. Thank you guys for joining us for making the case for your lawyer dreams as our room continues to fill up. What's going on, Crystal? What's going on, Miss Manuela? What's going on, Miss Victoria? What's going on, Kit Kat? What's going on, Reese's, CVP, Juris V. Judy? As this room continues to fill up, I want to tell you guys, welcome so much to Making the Case. I think this is episode 10. We've had a great lineup of guests, and of course, today we're going to have an even better lineup of guests. I'm really excited about tonight's show. I want you guys to understand, again, my name is Anthony, founder of Becoming JD, where our goal is to help you guys manifest your lawyer dreams. I don't care what your LSAT score is. I don't care what your GPA is. I don't care what red flags you may have. I believe out of 197 law schools, there is a law school for you. If you're willing to work for it, if you're willing to grind for it, we can definitely make it happen. We've continued to do it now for the past 3 years, and of course, we're continuing to do it now. And so I want this room, of course, to fill up. And one of the things I always to ask you guys to do is let us know where you're viewing our session from. I know we got Richmond in the house. I know we got, of course, I'm holding it down here in St. Louis. So let me know where it is that you're viewing our session from. And also one of the things I want to let you guys know who are here, y'all, is I want to make sure that you guys are going to be in the house tomorrow. I'm going to post a video after our live tonight. We're going to be having a special study hall tomorrow with our amazing guest, Nichelle. She came and blessed us last Wednesday. And of course, she wants to talk to you guys who are struggling with the LSAT about test anxiety. And that's, of course, going to be free $99. The video for that is going to drop tomorrow. You guys can actually go into the link in my bio right now and register for it. Again, it's for the Silent Study Hall. It's free $99. She's going to be hosting it. Of course, you guys, we had the amazing Crystal who killed the LSAT, hosted a couple of times ago. So we want to make sure that you guys are always going to have resources on the ready to help you guys make the next move. Man, my eye is really red. I just got out the shower. But nevertheless, we got Illinois in the house. We got New Jersey in the house holding it down. All right, so what's going on, all things Mila? So again, as our room continues to fill up, again, our goal, of course, tonight is to make sure that you guys have the tools, the skills that you need to be successful. In addition to that, also what I want to make sure that you guys do is that if you guys have any questions, I want you guys to make sure that you throw them in the chat box. I want to also, of course, before we continue our role where we're going to have a guest and share, is I also want to make sure and take some time to really give people out their flowers. I know this past weekend in Miami, they had a law school admissions council law forum. I want to encourage you guys to make sure that you go out to these forums, you guys. These are wonderful opportunities to become more than just an application number, but really to be able to make a first impression. One of my students, Ashley, we found out about the law forum in Miami on Friday. She got ready and went on Saturday and had a remarkable time. She was able to secure waivers. She was also able to secure contacts. I want you guys to be able to understand these law forums are wonderful opportunities for you to make a first impression. You guys understand the assignment? You guys understand, I don't have to call you guys out. You guys know who I'm speaking to. We got forums that's happening all year round, all things Wallace. She said, I'm in ATL, and I was wondering, what should I bring with me to the LSAC forum? Awesome. so we could talk about that. Now, listen, you guys, I know they had a forum in Houston. They just had one in Miami last weekend. I want you guys to go to Law School Admissions Council to find out where your forum is. And if it, in fact, is not something that's convenient, you can always, of course, go to the one in ATL. I think that's the next one coming up. And you guys, this is a huge opportunity. The people who are going to be making decisions about your law school future are going to be there. And it gives you an opportunity to come correct. And so I'll go ahead and drop some gems on how we got Ashley ready for the Miami Forum so you guys can learn how to get ready too, okay? So when it comes to these forums, you guys, first things first, you want to come dressed to impress. You got to come for the job that you, not the job that you have, but for the job you want. And so that means I want you guys to come to these events. What's going on, Sean? I want you guys to come to these forums suited and booted, all right? That means we want to come dressing like the lawyers that we're going to be. Listen, man, do not make the mistake that I made. And I told Ashley this, and I'm embarrassed now to think about it that I did it, is I literally went to these forums with my slides on, some basketball shorts, and a do-rag. And I'm sitting here wondering why I didn't get into law school that year, right? I looked a hot mess. But I realize now you guys want to be able to understand. So the forum in Atlanta is coming up this Friday, okay? So that means you want to come dressed to impress. I mean, come dressed in a suit. Come dressed to the nines. To my ladies, you may not wear heels. Maybe you wear flats. Maybe you wear a pantsuit. Whatever makes you feel comfortable. But remember, you're coming there to make an impression, okay? And so all things, Mila, when you go there, what I tell you guys to do is if, in fact, you do not have business cards, make some business cards within certain time. Now, you can literally go on Canva right now and make some. I know Ashley literally made them overnight and had them ready, all right? And so when you go to these forums, what you want to also be able to do, all things, Mila, is you want to come prepared with questions. Now, if you go to the Law School Admissions Forum website right now, they'll tell you all the participating law schools that will be there. It's going to be on the side to the right. Just click the participating law schools. And you can be able to see the schools that you want that are going to be there, right? And so what you want to be able to do, Mila, is you want to be able to prepare a list of questions. Now, none of these regular questions that they can find on the website. You want to ask every law school that you want to go to a question. That question will be like, what steps are you guys taking to try to improve diversity in an event that affirmative action has now been overruled? That could be a question. Or what you may want to ask is, when is the last time you accepted somebody from law school with my particular scores? Next question you can ask is, what is your policy in regards to law school waivers? What would I need to do to qualify? These are questions that, of course, that you're not going to find on the website. That's going to be a way for you to be able to get your foot in the door. Now, sis, kings, queens out there, when we go to these forums, we're not supposed to have our phones with us. Put our phone away, because that's what I want you guys to treat it like your job. I want you to treat it like it's something that you are prepared for. Again, don't make the mistake I did. Coming in a do-rag, slides, and basketball shorts? What? But you want to be able to come to these events and the opportunity to make an impression. I know that there's going to be a line, and the one in Atlanta, if it's thick like the one in Houston or thick like the one in Miami, it's going to be a whole lot of people there, okay? You may have to wait in line, Monet. You may have to wait in line, Bar Brooklyn Town, but wait in line. Your goal is to be able to make contact. Listen to this, all things, Lila. You want to make contact. You want to make sure that you're going to have a little notepad. I don't want to see your phones, y'all. I want you to make contact. I want you to shake the person's hand. Introduce yourself. Your goal, you guys, is to make sure that you're going to get their names. Keep a little notebook. Maybe, you want to have your phone out for that, but I really don't want you to have your phone out at all. And I want you to write down everybody that you talk to, everybody at every table. If you go to the Georgetown table, write down their names. If you go to see Southwest, write down their names. For Southwest, you may ask the questions, well, what are you guys doing in regards to your hybrid program? So you want to come prepared with questions, because what a lot of people do, and where I screwed up, you guys, I just went in there with the grab bags. All right, I didn't even talk to nobody. All right, where I sign? That is not what you want. If you're about that life, if you're about trying to make an impression, you want to make sure that you're going to give an opportunity to meet the people who are going to make decisions about your law school future. This is your first chance. This is your first chance to stand out. And so when you do that, you guys, I want you to be able to take those names and check this out. Get this, Maya. What you want to do, and this is what I had Ashley do at Miami, is I want you to also make sure that you're going to send thank you emails to everybody that you talk to. What? Thank you emails. And man, it's to the point now where we don't even really have to make the thank you emails, right? You can go to ChatGPT and figure it out. Or you can go to Hallmark with an e-card to write a thank you for taking the time to answer my question. And I would love an opportunity, if possible, to talk to you more about this particular school in the future. Okay. So this is the way. And oftentimes, because you're writing that thank you letter, you've now created a line of communication. You now created an opportunity for you to be able to have a follow-up conversation with them where you can be able to have that, what I just posted today, that informational interview. Okay. So this is the way to get your foot in the door. Don't be one of those hundreds of other people that are just going to roll through there and just take numbers and take things. And then at the end of the day, when they're wondering why they didn't get in law school, it's because when they had opportunities to stand out, they decided to just be a part of the crowd. All right. So I know this is going to require you guys to step out your comfort zone. But what I'll tell you guys is, aren't you worth it? If you believe you're worth it, please raise your hand in the chat box, because I believe every last one of y'all is worth it. I'm going to raise my hand too. That you're going to be able to have to take a step out of your comfort zone. And one of the things I'll tell you is that also, you guys, that there are a lot of law school fairs going on year round, you guys. And this is an opportunity for you guys to be able to find different fairs that are being hosted at different colleges to make sure that you're in attendance. Because one of the things that really helped me when I applied to law school the second time, I didn't have my slides on the second time, is literally I went to one fair and guess what? I went to another one and I found the same people. And so I ended up talking to the same admissions persons. And so I was able to give them an update in regards to what things were going on and how things were progressing. And so now when it comes time, all things Milo, when they went to go look at my application, oh, that's Anthony. I met him at 2 law school forums. That's how you make that meaningful connection. That's how you become more than just a name or more than just a number. And if you're on this live, that means that you're trying to do something. You're trying to break chains. You're trying to do something. You're trying to create the new norm for your family. You're trying to make sure that you're doing everything in your power to be able to stand out to get into law school. And so I tell you guys these tips because I want to see you win. I want to see you manifest your lawyer dreams. All right, Jess? You got that, Jess? You got that, Jess? Raise your hand, because I understand that it's challenging. I understand at times that it can be very, very isolating. And so this is a huge step for you because it's going to give you an affirmation too. Be a wonderful opportunity for you to be able to greet and meet people and actually build relationships with law schools who you are interested in going to. And so to those out there who are going to the forum out in Atlanta, one of the other things I challenge, I want you to go find 3 schools. 3 schools that you don't know. The only rule is I want to make sure that there's 3 schools that you find. They can't border the state that you live in. And they, of course, have to make sure they're a school from a different region. I want to make sure that we're challenging ourselves and expanding our knowledge when it comes to law schools. Because there are 197 law schools. But I really challenge you, how many law schools can you name? I bet you can't name no more than 20. I bet you can't name no more than 20. And the 20 that you're naming are going to be mostly HBCUs, Ivy League schools, and then after that, it's going to be a throw at a guess at state schools that may be present in your particular state. Am I right? And so I want to make sure that you guys understand that the biggest reasons why people don't get into law school, you guys, is oftentimes because they do not know about other law schools that will accept them. Now, that was a very, very long-winded answer, but I was hoping that it was something that was helpful, okay? And so let's see here what we have in the chat box. Let's see here. And I'm sorry for my eyes. My eyes are red. I've been editing papers all day and all night. And so my eyes are just bloodshot red. But please bear with me, all right? So let's see here what we got here. Let's see here. Somebody asked a question. Yeah, it's at the Hyatt Regency. It's always been at the Hyatt Regency. Let's see here. Somebody asked something about the LSAT. How much time should I take to study for the LSAT? You probably want to take about 3 to 4 months to study for the LSAT. But one of the things that you want to make sure that you do for your LSAT prep is you want to be able to make sure specifically that you are keeping a record of how you're doing. You don't want to just get lost in studying, because oftentimes studying the LSAT without taking practice tests is a way of shielding yourself from accountability. You have to be able to take those practice tests to be able to ensure that you are performing, learning, and retaining the material that you're studying. So we can't be afraid of the practice tests. I know if you guys DM me LSAT, I think it could be free LSATs and LSAT tips for like 7 days. So you want to be able to utilize those tests to be able to help you. All right, all things Milo said, how do you feel about addendums? Well, Crystal will tell you how I feel about addendums. I love addendums. Addendums provide an opportunity not for you to provide what I call a confession, but also provide you an opportunity instead to provide a testimony. Oftentimes where people go wrong, Mila, with their addendums, they just have a confessional where they just tell how everything went wrong. But that does not give security to law schools. You know what I'm saying, I am Lena? Because what law schools want to be able to know when you're writing an addendum, that whatever issue that you were having, whatever problem that you were having, that's something that's no longer an issue anymore. So they're really kind of looking forward to two things: transparency, and then they're also looking forward to seeing how much you've grown and evolved since whatever instant that was. And I can tell you this right now, whatever it was from your past that leads you to have to write an addendum, there's a law school that will accept you. However, one of the things I encourage a lot of people to do, and I had to do this myself when I got dismissed from law school in 2009, is you want to make sure and contact the law schools to find out their history. Because every law school, I am Lena, is going to tell you to go ahead and apply. But you want to make sure and get it from the horse's mouth to find out, hey, in the past 2 years, have you accepted someone's been dismissed? Have you accepted someone that had a felony on their record? Have you accepted someone who had a GPA below 3.0? Have you accepted someone who had an LSAT score, let's say, below 140? These are very important questions, oftentimes that we do not ask because we're afraid of the answers. But I'm here to tell you, but getting those answers, Mila, is going to provide you with the clarity that you need to ensure that you find the law school that will accept you. Because making those calls, when I went through this process, you guys, when I got dismissed from law school, there was nothing on the internet for me to find ways to get back to law school. And so the only way I was able to find out is I had to call law school. I had a list of 20 schools. I mean, I had an LSAT score that's pretty strong. But because I got dismissed, there was nothing to let me know, will schools accept me? And so I had to go through a list, I am Lena, to really find out from schools, hey, if I have this red flag, will you let me in? And some schools were like, no. I mean, it hurt. I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm man enough to tell you, I cried my butt off. Because I'm sitting here thinking, man, all the schools on my list, all the schools I knew said no. And so I had to do my research and find more schools. And then after I did that research, you guys, I found about 10, 15 schools. And it saved me a lot of money. Because if I did not do that process, you guys, I probably would not have gone to law school and I probably would not be a lawyer right now. So doing that process is something I encourage you guys to do. And if you're nervous about it, one of the things you can do, Ed, is you can just call them, *67, tell them that your name is Jack, tell them that your name is Karen, and get the information that you need. Because right now we're in an early part of the application cycle. A lot of applications just open. So getting those answers is going to provide clarity in regards to you making decisions about where you're going to apply and also where you're not going to apply. And you don't want to waste your money applying to law schools, Ms. Gonzalez, that will not accept you. We're not in the business of donating. Am I right? We ain't in the business of donating. All we're trying to do is stack and collect acceptances and get awards letters that we could be able to utilize to help us get more money, and more money. Y'all get what I'm saying? So, hope that answered that question. Let me take a breath. All right, so let me send a request to our guest speaker today. She is on the road. I want you guys to be able to understand is that the competition out for acceptance is just fierce. And because of that fierceness, you guys, we cannot risk just being regular. What's going on, Queen?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good. As you noticed in our title, I said, hustling for the acceptance, all gas, no brakes. And I could think
I saw that.
I could not think about a better person to talk to than you, who, of course, stay hustling, stay grinding. And there's a lot of people out there that they find themselves ruling themselves out of being accepted into law school because they don't fit in this cookie cutter. And so I want you to, I know we've had you on before, but of course, when I had you on before, you just got accepted. Now you graduated. Now you're doing a semester early. Okay?
Yes.
And so I know that there's so many people out there that are on the cusp of quitting, thinking that they can't do it. And I just felt like I could talk all day, but hearing your story, I think it'd be able to change a lot of people's lives. I want to give you the floor. Sis is traveling, doing the damn thing, of course. But go ahead and tell my readers, my listeners, the tribe, who you are, and we're going to roll with it from there.
Okay. My name is Karechia Worthine. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I graduated from Spelman College back in 2018, the top of my class. And after I graduated from Spelman, I took a 2-year gap year before I went to law school. I did Teach for America for 2 years, a nonprofit that was the educational equity gap between like low and impoverished and disenfranchised communities, like APS. So I was in Atlanta Public Schools, teacher 2nd grade and 5th grade. And then after Teach for America, I applied to law school, and I initially got accepted to Tulane Law School. Although I had aspirations to go to a school in DC. I've always wanted to go to a law school in DC, despite it being Georgetown, George Washington, American. I just knew I wanted to start my legal career in DC. So I picked what law schools I was going to apply to based on the city I wanted to live in. And after I applied to law school, I ended up being waitlisted for George Washington. But a day before school started, I got a call from the dean of the law school saying, like, hey, we want you to come here. We will match the scholarship money that Tulane is offering you, and we would love to have you since, we're going virtual since it was COVID at the time. So I started law school in 2020, so they was able to create a space for me to go to George Washington with the same amount of scholarship money and so forth. So we could just start there.
Oh boy, we gonna go behind the scenes here, right? Because a lot of folks, be scared to take a step out the comfort zone. And one of the things that I loved about you and your energy, it was just like your focus and your determination. I remember because we went through different schools. We got Arizona State on deck. We had so many options, but sis was like, "Nah, man, GW."
Yes, I was not letting up.
And one of the things that's beautiful is like I do post, I think I just did a post about the informational interviews. And I want you to just be able to tell the story just real quick.
Okay.
How we pulled up and got an interview. Tell them how that worked. Tell them how that went.
Okay. So the entire time I applied to GW and I was on the wait list, I did not wait. Like, we were actively sending updated emails every 2 to 3 weeks with new things that I had accomplished, whether it was volunteer experience, volunteering with the judge, something legal related. So I would not recommend, if you're on the wait list, you don't wait for them to get back to you. You constantly remind them that you're not just a number. You're not just sitting around hoping and praying and waiting that they just magically pick you out of 100 other people. So I just constantly, like, every 2 weeks, I would update them with something new, like, hey, I just did community service with this judge in Clayton County, which was also a mentor of mine from Spelman, and this is how many hours I did, or I did another internship with another judge or another attorney with private practice. And this is, just constantly reminding them why I'm a good choice and I am already actively doing legal work, and bestowing the opportunity on me to go to law school would be beneficial because I would represent them very well as an attorney later on down the line. So I was just, the consistency shone out. We never reached out to them without a legitimate update. I wouldn't say send an empty update, like, hey, just following up. Like, it has to be, it can't be an empty email, an empty update. It has to be something of substance that they can add to your file, and they just constantly add it to my file. And at that point, after just constantly following up, they called for an interview. It was really impromptu. Right. Like, we went over, it was really random. You got to be ready. Stay ready. Okay.
Sometimes you got to answer those calls you don't know.
Stay ready, don't get ready, okay? So I stayed ready, and we did like a quick mock interview before I did the actual interview, me, Anthony. And when the dean called me, I was ready. I already knew what I was going to say. My anxiety was like lessened because we did the mock interview, and I already had my talking points and so forth. I did the mock interview, and they absolutely loved my energy. I would say once you get to that point it really pulls your name off of a paper just being a name. It shows who you are as a person. And that's really what they care about. They care about, are you someone who exudes, grit and determination and, just persistency? Like, do you have the qualities of being a successful attorney and representing this law school, well after you leave and graduate and become an attorney? And I feel like through that random interview, I was able to exhibit those qualities to them, where they then reached out to me day before school started. At this point, I've already accepted Tulane Law School. Yeah. I have packed up my car. Me and my best friend, one of my best friends was moving to New Orleans. We was picking out an apartment. Like, my whole life was going to New Orleans. I was going to start. And I was already in class online for Tulane because I started law school during COVID in 2020, that August of 2020. So I'm already in law school classes for 2 weeks. And because, Tulane Law School is a Southern law school, they started before George Washington Law School started. Their start date was 2 weeks later. So a day before school started, I think school started that Tuesday, I get a call that Monday saying, hey, I know you already started law school at Tulane, but this is a personal phone call from the dean. Now, the dean at the time she's the first African-American dean to be at George Washington in history. This is the first African-American woman to be a dean at this law school. And she said, we spoke with her, and she said, if you are willing, we would love to match, the scholarship money that you're getting at Tulane. We would like to create a seat for you to come here instead. And when I tell you, I was like, oh, see you later, Tulane. Gotta go. I ended that so quick, and I started the next day at George Washington. I surely did.
And what's so amazing about that story, because I was actually looking at our old DMs back and forth, going all the way back then. I remember you sent me the message. You said, I got in. But what I tell you guys that story, and I hope you guys get from this, is, man, ain't nobody going to gift you nothing. And ain't nobody owe you nothing. You had to bring a positive attitude with it the whole time. And I want you guys to be able to understand that if you want something, you just got to go for it. All gas. That's why I put in the thing, all gas.
All gas.
Because, when I tell you, we were talking like practically almost every other day.
Yes.
And we was like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And so everything that we're telling, I hope you guys see, this is the manifestation of it. If you bring that energy, and that's what law schools want. Law schools really, you guys, they want to know, if we give this person a chance, are they BSing us? Are they BSing us in their application? Is this real or is it fake? Like the persons from the movie Dope. Is it real? Are they real or are they fake? And the thing about it is, each time that you have an opportunity to make an impression, each time you have an opportunity to make it, because each time, I remember we was talking about it, each time you guys, a law school pulls your file, they're going to look at it. And here she go again. What else she got? Let's go ahead and pull her. Oh, she calling again, y'all. That means she did something else. But the energy, let's know, because there's a whole list of people that get put on wait lists. I tell people all the time, and you're the proof that if you want to get off the wait list, and so I see somebody from Morehouse giving you some love on here, and I want you guys to be. Not only did you go do the things, you graduated early.
Yes, I graduated early from law school. I graduated a semester early from law school, so I finished December 2022. So once I got started, I was like, I'm getting up out of here. My first 2 years was online because of COVID, and then my last year or year and a half, half a year was in person. So I was still able to get that experience on campus, networking with other people, joining organizations like BOSA, the Black Law Student Association, and actually getting an internship on Capitol Hill, working with Congress members. Stuff like that, just networking, using my resources at GW to further my career goals. But I definitely will also say that if you want to get accepted into law school, especially like a top 15 or a T15 or a top 20, top 25 school, you definitely need mentorship. Like this entire process, I didn't go through trying to figure everything out on my own. I went directly to Anthony trying to figure out, okay, let's come up with some strategies on how we can really finesse and get me where I'm trying to go. You know, with what I have, because I will say LSAT score, oh,
Okay, I think we may have lost her. We'll get her back. But the thing about it, you guys, is what I want you guys to understand from her story, y'all, is that you determine you back. The LSAT does not determine your value. And for a lot of people, you guys, when we get our LSAT scores, it really kind of robs us of our confidence. It makes us think that, okay, well, because of my score, I can't go to law school. Well, what I tell people, and one of the things that I work on with you guys, is understanding that you determine your value. So if you know your LSAT score is not going to be an equivalent to your value, and actually USC Law School literally has a question, does your LSAT score determine your value, yes or no? Then that means the onus is going to be on you guys out there to ensure that you're accurately demonstrating your value. This sis, man, was grinding every day, going to law firms, going to court, doing everything possible to try to build a network, to try to help her be able to make herself stand out. Of course, you know, but that's all going to be something that, and that same go-get-it attitude is something that you're also going to need to be able to utilize once you do become a lawyer. Because, of course, there's a lot of lawyers out there. So learning how to stand out now and learning how to be comfortable, stepping out of your comfort zone and identifying and seeing the things that you want and going after it is literally something that you want to have to learn how to accept right now, because law school admissions is still going up. More people are applying. And at the end of the day, you guys, understand this. Whatever your LSAT score is, whatever your GPA is, guess what, y'all? Somebody else got your score. Somebody else got your number. And so it really, when it comes down to trying to define, am I going to take this person who may have a 140, or am I going to take this person who has a 127, or am I going to take this person who has a 150, or am I going to take this person who has a 134? It's going to a lot of times come down. Of course, the scores will matter, but if you are able to demonstrate to them, like she said, talking about mentorship, talking about you getting people to advocate for you. A lot of times, you guys, thank you for joining us, Bendy and Legally Pretty Chels. A lot of times we oftentimes sleep on our letters of recommendation, and we oftentimes do not realize the value and the weight that they carry, because these are ways for people to be able to advocate and really demonstrate the value and the contributions that you bring. And this is something especially people need to make sure that they're going to be doing if in fact they know that their LSAT score is not a representation of who they are. Don't let your LSAT score determine your value. And the way that you avoid doing it is ensuring that you're doing other things. Like she said, she had lawyers, she had judges, she went to court, she did all these things to show her value. So much so that the dean is calling her saying, hey, Shawty, come on, we want to holler at you. But that's something that really comes down to you saying, I want it, and being willing to do what it takes to get it. That does not require a GPA. That does not require an LSAT score. That's requiring you sheer willing it and making it happen, okay? And so I hope you guys hearing that from her. Sis killed it. And I remember she called me, she's like, I'm thinking about Emory. But the thing about it, you guys, is you being able to realize that if you want something, then saying, what am I going to do to get it? Am I going to go to the community? Am I going to go check out the events for the law school? And I'm going to go and volunteer at the events at the law school. I'm going to go to lawyerlegion.com and check out ways for me to meet lawyers from that law school that are in my area. One of my students, you guys, she got a job. She went to Lawyer Legions, found lawyers from the law school that she wanted to go to, and asked to volunteer. And they told her, hey, we can't let you volunteer, but we will pay you to work here. And now, not only does she have a job, she also now has a network for her to be able to secure a letter of recommendation from somebody that went to the school that she's applying to. So I want you guys to understand, taking those extra steps is something that can make a difference when you are either getting accepted or having to wait another year, or unfortunately having to not be in school when you should be in school. Okay. All right, we good? We back?
Yes, I'm I was driving through some trees. Sorry.
And life be lifing. And one of the things I was telling them is like, I know a lot of times people deal with fear.
Yes.
And one of the things that I loved about you, sis, is your fearlessness. And people think that oftentimes in that process, oh, well, you know, I'm not like her. I'm sure everybody just told her yes. And so I want you to tell people a little bit about those hard times when you were trying to navigate and network and things weren't working out. What encouraged you to keep going? Because a lot of people just be like, oh, you know, I got that LSAT score. That's a sign from God that I
Right.
need to do something else. You know what? I ain't heard none from no schools, but that must be a sign. God's telling me I need to do something. Well, I'm gonna wait again because I remember, or what are they, or people say, I'm gonna wait till next year,
Right.
and that's what.
I definitely would caution those people to really sit down and think about what your purpose is. Like, what's the real reason you want to go to law school? What change do you want to make within your community, within, you know, that particular field of law that you're trying to go into, and how you can help others. I also was just very high on faith during that process because I was like, applying to law school, it brings you through just studying for the LSAT and applying to law school, even trying to get like law school waivers, like the entire process from start to finish, it brings you through every emotion.
Yeah.
You know, it brings you through anxiety, depression, happiness, anger, and you have to be someone who can persevere through those things and be positive. You have to be an optimistic person and say, you know what, at the end of the day, even I'm gonna do everything I can do
Yeah.
to, you know, let the odds be better on my end. I'm gonna make sure I volunteer with this judge, with this attorney. I'm gonna make sure that I follow up with this law school. I'm gonna try my best to make sure that they know my name outside of just a number, just me being like another person on the list to pick from. So you have to distinguish yourself, and once you know that you've exhausted all options, even if they do say no, it will still give you the satisfaction that you knew that you did what you could have done. And if that's just not your season, it will be your season. You know, so it's not that you can't apply again. Like, it's gonna be there. There's law school acceptances every year. They have acceptances in different semesters. They have spring acceptances. They have rolling admissions. So it's not a no. It's never a no for you. You know, it's only no if you say no to yourself. Like, you are your biggest enemy. You are your biggest critic. And if you can get past yourself saying no, you can get past anybody else saying it. So I would just say that's how I got through it.
I love that. If you say that again about the no part, I may have to put that on a post. What?
If you can get past yourself saying no to you, then you can get past anybody else. Okay? We are our biggest critics. So don't have negative self-talk. Don't put yourself in that category. Oh, my LSAT is this. They won't even consider me. They won't even look at me. Like, eliminate all negative self-talk, all negative thoughts, and just give it a chance. Just try. Just do it. Do it. I would say do it scared.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do it scared. And it's okay. Whatever the results is, are the results. But do it scared. It's better doing it scared than not doing it at all. Because you not doing it at all out of fear is running away from something that you want to do because you are scared of the results.
Hmm. I guess we going to church, right? I guess
I
we
know, right?
Bible study, right? All right. And so one of the other things I definitely want you to be able to share is like, oftentimes we think we have to have a certain background, right? And I hope you guys who just joined us, make sure you go back and watch this replay. I mean, you didn't have an initial background in law. I mean, I remember you called me, it's like, yeah, I did Teach for America. And so people oftentimes disqualify themselves because of their background. And so tell them, like, in regards to that background, like, how did you go about explaining that? So people understand it don't matter what field you're in. You don't have to be in the legal field for 10 years or 15 years before you can go to law school.
Right, exactly. So Teach for America actually made my application look better because it showed that I was more of a public servant. Like, I was someone who does public service. I care about giving public service. Nonprofit organization, like serve it for X amount of years, and because I have a passion for helping, people who can't represent themselves, like however you want to tie it in, you tie it in that way. If that's, you being a public servant and you volunteering and you saying like, hey, I can do this as an attorney and represent clients to a certain level, X, Y, and Z, like that's how you do it. But find a way to tie it in. It's never a reason to, discourage you from applying.
Right, because at its baseline, you guys, it's all about showing core values, right? The core values you need to show is character. You got to show integrity. You got to show that people trust you. You got to show that people, value you, that you bring, one of the things I say to you guys, that you bring value to the spaces that you're in. The fact that it doesn't matter what career that you're in, you're demonstrating qualities that showcase skills that law schools are looking for. If you're a manager, I remember I was working at a gas station, and I talked about me working at a gas station in my application because it shows character, humility, it shows trust. Hey, I had to train people. So a lot of times, you guys, we're looking for this cookie cutter. I worked as a legal intern for 5 years on the Hill, and that's great. But if you don't, you can still showcase the skills in whatever. I think for a lot of people out there, I hope that by hearing your story, they're like, oh, hell, I'm about to do this. I mean, because at the end of the day, law schools are looking for people. Law schools are looking for stories. They want to be able to say, yeah, saw that, Jim. Yeah, oh, boy. That's good. They want to be part of your story. And really,
Yes.
today, I feel like when we get down to the rubber meets the road, I feel like that's kind of why we write personal. But then to be able to tell a story that we want to be a part of, or not good. And so a lot of times, we put our was to disqualify us. Those are actually to make a difference. I mean, you around work with a student work offshore. All things having like going ahead and sharing with law schools, because that's going to be the reason why that you're going to be remembered. Oh, the Teach for America girl that always sending us messages every week. Oh yeah. I know I don't want to drive, but I want to be able to a lot of that's really begin.
You're breaking up. I'm sorry.
I was lying.
What did you say?
Like a lot of people, that's right, but hard work.
What did I do after I applied?
Yeah.
After I applied to law school, I continued to volunteer and work. I was interning with a judicial judge in Clayton County. She was a Spelman alum as well, and I got a lot of court experience. I attended like all hearings. I helped create emergency orders, delinquency and dependency orders for like juvenile court in Clayton County. And then I also worked at a entertainment law firm. That one was remotely, so I got to work with a lot of celebrity clients, just contracting their deals and so forth. So that was interesting as well. So I got an opportunity to get some experience in different fields of law to see what I was really interested in prior to going to law school.
Now, this is a question I want to ask. You kind of skipped over the hustle. How the heck did you get to work with a judge without being a law student? Tell them how we get that, sis. How we making that happen? Because I think I need to hear, man, getting an internship from a judge and having that deflect on your application, on your letters of continued interest, that's huge. So please tell them how you did it so they can follow suit.
I believe I reached out via LinkedIn for the judge, and I also reached out to the attorney that I work for during, on Instagram. So you'll be surprised. A lot of you can utilize Instagram. So it doesn't always have to be a formality where you're reaching out on LinkedIn or sending an email. But I reached out and I pretty much explained what I was, I'm applying to law school. I'm very ambitious and I would love to volunteer and get this experience. I think it'll be it's very imperative for me to, to volunteer, get this experience so I can exude like these qualities that they're looking for at the law school. And I also want to be an asset to you all at that point. You always want to mention that you can be of value or bring something. And it's not just, hey, I need you to give me volunteer hours so I can apply to law school. So when I put it that way, of course, people are always willing to help you, and these two women particularly, where they were African-American women, they both went to an HBCU. So they were able to empathize with me because they were once were where I was, where I am right now, like when they applied to law school. So it was beneficial for me to do that because I was able to put that a part of my law school application and update it and send those emails saying like, hey, I have this experience now.
Did y'all get that, Kayla? Did you get that, Nikita? Nick, did you get that? And so, just a bit of transparent, right? People may say, oh, well, she just got lucky. How many people did you send messages to, and how many did you get responses? Because sometimes you don't get responses.
I actually called maybe 20 people, 20, 30 people. People actually responded because of, I went to Spelman and a lot of the people I reached out to went to Spelman. So it was just a support system there, community there. So I would first get people to start Georgia State alum, if you go to Spelman, Morehouse, wherever you, try to utilize, the school that you're at right now and volunteer and get mentorship from someone who is already in a position that you want to be in. So I got a good level of responses from people, but at that point I just had to figure out what do I really want to do, what do I see myself doing, and who do I think will give me or teach me the best experience in this field. So that's how I chose my two.
So y'all catching this, right? And to do that, that's free 99, right? You mean I ain't gotta pay to join no program. That's free 99, right?
Right.
And so I just want you guys to understand, like, when you want something, I mean, and let's be a buck, man. And if they say if you didn't get a response, all right, well, keep it pushing. And
right.
So literally, we have platforms, you guys, just like you guys are listening to us right now. There's lawyers and judges that are also on these platforms. We've had some on as guests. That's an opportunity for you to be able to reach out to them. You go to GABA, the Georgia Black Women's Lawyers Association. Check out their website, see their name, find their name, screenshot, send them a message. You want to check out the Black Lawyers Association or the Hispanic Lawyers Association of Miami or New York. I love the Haitian Lawyers Association of Metropolitan New York. Check them out. Send them a message. Shoot your shot. What's the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is they don't say nothing. And you know what? That is fine. And if they do say something, it could change everything. But it's all about you saying, do I really want this? Let's keep it up. Do I really want this? I mean, Cisco over here working with celebrities, working with judges before law. And when you see information to law schools like, damn, okay, she really go hard. Okay, maybe this is what ambitious. Maybe it's no BS, but it's going to be up to you because there's somebody going to have your scores, there's somebody going to have your GPA, but there's someone going to have your hunger, your energy,
Right.
and I think that's why not everybody gets calls from deans of the law school, y'all, that say, hey, we opened up the seat, please come. But if that's what you want, you're gonna have to put in the work, man. And I hope that you see the blueprint right here. And sis, let them know your Instagram so they can follow you and ask you questions. I'm sure we'll have some people from the AUC trying to hit you up,
Okay.
so they can be able to follow you and ask and see what's going on with you.
Okay. My Instagram is Reese. CBP is REESEC V as in Victor, P as in Paul _ So if you guys have any questions, you feel free to reach out to me directly, and I will give you an authentic response. Okay.
But I mean, and I know, and the thing about it is, listen, man, I know that you guys out there are tired. We juggling a lot. You got family after you got a husband, you were doing school, you were doing a lot. And a lot of times people just say to ourselves, well, you know what that means? I'm doing enough. No, it does not mean you're doing enough, because that's what everybody else is doing. And so you got to say, what can I do more than other people are doing? And my girl Reese was all about that. Oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
We're going to make it happen.
And now sis out here doing it. And the thing that's amazing, you guys, is because you were successful, sis, you didn't open the doors up for so many other young ladies and kings out there. Because I'm sure you'd be like, you just be able to look like, I'm seeing more of me out here, because you've given them the blueprint of what to look for to find successful people. Because it's not about the LSAT score. And I tell people, if you don't want it to be about the LSAT score, then you got to show them something else. And hey, she gave us the blueprint, man. We got Instagram. Instead of scrolling to find deals or to laugh at jokes, scroll to find opportunities. It worked out for her, and it's going to work out for you. Thank you, sis, for joining us. Please drive safe out in these streets. And again, thank you so much. I don't know how to X out the window, though. I'll bet.
Okay, I got it. Thanks for having me. Okay.
Awesome. So you guys, you heard the story. You heard the story. You heard the assignment. Baby Moye, you heard the assignment. Now the question is, are you going to be willing to do what it takes to make it happen? When I tell you guys it does not matter what your LSAT score, sis is the proof. But it's all about you saying, how bad do you want it? Right now, like I just came from court today. Court is free $99. You ain't got to save for it like going to a Taylor Swift concert or going to see Beyonce. It's free $99. Literally, I was looking at the list. It shows you the court dockets. It shows you the lawyers that are going to be there. Literally go to court. Literally, that's how I was able to get my internships, even before law school, just like Reese did. And that's how I was able to get my clerkship, a federal clerkship, which was supposed to only go to the top 3% of my class. I was nowhere near there, but I got the federal clerkship. So if you want something, you had this dream for a reason. And having that dream does not mean that you're immune from challenges. Those challenges means it's time for you to pivot and grow. And so if you need help with that, shoot me a DM. I'm always helping you guys because I want to see you guys win. I want to see you manifest your lawyer dreams. I hope that tonight's session was beneficial for you. I hope you learned a lot. I know that we had issues with service, but nevertheless, I hope you come away fed, realizing that the challenges that you're going through right now are actually going to be the challenges that you overcome, and they're going to shape you and prepare you for the next challenge, which of course is going to be law school. But if you want it, man, it's all about you putting in that work. Sis putting that work, man. We were calling law schools, we was sending information, sending updated emails, all the things that I prescribe to you guys to do, which most of it is free $99. That's all Reese did. She did the free Ivy League courses. She looked on Volunteer Match to find different opportunities. And so it's all about you trying to build that momentum and realize this is something that you want. You don't want to be defined by your LSAT score, but then you got to show them something different, y'all. But it's all based off of you, all right? Because guess what? One of the things I always never forget, whatever you won't do, somebody else will. And at the end of the day, you don't want to be the one who chose not to step out his or her comfort zone, be the reason why you're not in somebody's law school. Because I'll say this before I close, because it's not just about your LSAT, man. It ain't. It's about everything else. Because Reese had an amazing letters of recommendation, because Reese had an amazing, phenomenal essays that we worked on together, because she continued to send letters of continued interest that had beef and meaningfulness to them, the law schools continue to be able to pull her application. So when it came time to go to the wait list, they remembered her because they kept on pulling her file. And I want that same thing for you. But of course, it's going to take work. And I know that you got a lot on your plate, but I know also that you did not have this lawyer dream by mistake. And so if you need help with that, of course, you can DM me the word I am ready, and I'll give you a special offer for us to start our writing sessions, because your writing session is actually going to be the first chance that you get to set yourself apart. And so I hope that this session was good for you guys. If you have any questions, I'm going to go through the chat box real quick to see. I'll see you, Nikita. All right, man. Let's see here. Have any questions? LawyerLegion.com. Yes. I was just saying this, like one of my students got a job. I made a reel for you guys about LawyerLegion.com. Type that in the chat box. LawyerLegion.com is a database of law school alumni. And so let's say we had Howard Law School. They have a database of all the alumni. And you can be able to pick out the alumni that may be in your state. Let's say you live in Houston. And literally on LawyerLegion.com, it allows you to check out Howard's Law's alumni page. It has to be about 500 alumni on there. And you can go by state. So let's say you find the one for Houston, Texas. And then what you do after that is you reach out to them and ask about opportunities to volunteer, like our girl Reese did. I know my student Victoria, she did it, and she instead of getting a volunteer opportunity, she got a job. And so understand, you guys, these are resources that you can be able to utilize to manifest your lawyer dreams. I know you got a lot on your plate, but you also were not meant to stay at the job that you have right now. You know I'm right. You know you were meant for something greater. So that means you may have to find ways to stretch yourself. Reese had to do it. She was teaching. She was married, working full time, and she also still found ways to be able to do volunteer work virtually. Of course, she went to go to volunteermatch.org for virtual volunteer opportunities. Reese did, and the rest is history. So it's all about you being able to say, this is what I want, and this is what I'm willing to do to make it happen, okay? And so I hope that this session was helpful. And again, I want to tell you guys who just joined us, tomorrow we are going to be having a testing session during our silent study hall. So make sure you go to the link in our bio. For you guys who don't know, our silent study halls are free, $99. And so you want to go there. Nichelle, who of course also, wow, didn't realize, another Spelmanite, she's going to be giving you guys a presentation on how to deal with test anxiety, how to overcome it, because that's oftentimes one of the things that's debilitating so many of us when we come to preparing for the LSAT. She's going to talk about LSAT strategies and LSAT tips as well. And again, it's free $99. So there's no reason for you not to be there, okay? I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys all these tools because I want to see you in somebody's law school. And I want you guys to have an open mind to being able to explore other law schools. I know we got our chocolate cities. I know we got our places that we're the most comfortable at, but that may not be the school. There may not be a school that'll accept you there. So open your mind. Look at Montana. Look at South Dakota. Look at Kansas, right, Crystal? Look at Kansas. Look at Wabash. Look at some other schools. I'm going to have a list of law schools I'm going to give you guys tomorrow. But I want you guys to have an open mind. Okay, let's see here. The issue is, should you choose a law school that is near you? Choosing a law school that's near you, the benefits of it, of course, is oftentimes a lot of law schools that are near you oftentimes have a preference towards in-state residencies. And so they're going to have a preference towards you because of your residency status. Literally, I think for North Carolina, majority of their students, they have a quota in regards to how a certain percentage of students have to come from their state. And so when you start going outside of the state, it becomes more challenging for you to get into law school because most law schools that are public are tax-paying dollars. They preserve a certain percentage of the seats for in-state students. So that means for those out-of-state students, oftentimes the challenge for them getting in is harder. Doesn't mean it's not possible. I know I was in Nashville and I was able to go to Tulane. And so it's all about you making sure that you're putting yourself in the best position possible to be successful, okay? And another law school website, thank you to Noah for your question. Let's see here before we get ready to wrap things up. All right, so how much do masters help with admissions? Thanks, James Jennings. Masters helps remarkably, right? Now listen, if you're going to get your master's, ask yourself why you're doing it, okay? I got my master's in social work. And the reason why I got my master's, James, is because I literally had a 0.6 GPA from law school. So I had a bad taste. And so I had to be able, it's one thing to say that you've changed. And so if you have a low GPA in college, the best way to show people that you've changed is by you showing them you're taking a demanding course load. And the route to do that, of course, is doing a master's program, right? And so if you're going to do that, you want to make sure it's going to be a very competitive program, all right? I know that we have law school, we have grad programs all over the place, like Capella and things like that. But I would encourage you, if you're going to go the route of doing a master's program, even an online master's. I did mine at Northwestern and only went for the graduation. But you want to make sure there's going to be preferably a book and mortar law school, a book and mortar master's program. So that way that's something that's going to be held in more high esteem. Because again, it's one thing to tell law schools that you've changed, but do you have grades to be able to prove it? And so you want to be able to address those elephants in the room. That's why I did my master's program, to try to demonstrate to them that, of course, that I can be successful in a grad program. And so that is a possible route for you to be able to go. All right. Thanks, James, for your question, bro. Let's see here. All right. So we've answered all the questions. Again, what's going on, Nancy? Holler at me, sis. And so we answered all the questions. Nancy, you need to go back and listen to this live. This will hit your heart, sis. And so I want to make sure that you guys will continue to push and motivate us here. Said no grad classes, but my undergrad is a 3.8. If you have a 3.8 GPA, that could be something that's going to be great. It's going to look awesome on your application. And oftentimes what people all fall into two categories, okay? People oftentimes fall into the category where they either one, have a high GPA and their LSAT score may not be as high. That's what you call a splitter. In those particular situations, it becomes very important for you to be able to demonstrate that your success is something that happens not just in the classroom. Like our girl Reese, she graduated top in her class from Spelman, but her LSAT score was not up there with someone who you would think graduated the top of their class. So what does she do? You address the elephant in the room. You try to make sure that you're doing things to continue to show your value and your worth. So they realize that same excellence that you had academically is also something that's going to translate when getting an opportunity in law school. Now, of course, you have your other category of people, what I call your late bloomers. People who, of course, go through life be lifing while you're in school and in college. You're juggling work, you're juggling life, you're juggling becoming an adult, and other different challenges. And oftentimes your GPA, shows that. And you may have a 2.3 or a 2.5 or a 2.8 or maybe less than a 3.0. In those particular situations, what becomes important is going to be your addendum. In your addendum, you're going to have to be able to demonstrate to them that that's not, because they're going to look at your GPA. But if we're not our GPA, we're going to have to demonstrate to them how we're not. And so that's where that value comes by you going to have people advocate for you who represent who you are now as opposed to who you were before. And then you having to write in your addendum and really have what I call a confessional, a testimonial where you demonstrate to them, like, these are the reason why I had these challenges. And these challenges, led to me struggling academically. Mm-hmm. However, I've made several changes. And since making those changes, this is how I'm going. Because law schools are looking for an upper trend. And so if you had a 2.3, I have a student who's in law school right now who had a 2.3. I had another one who had a 2.5. But it's about us being able to demonstrate to them, if in fact we did have a low GPA, that we're on an upward trend. If in fact we do have a LSAT score that may not be a representation of who we are, still showing that upward trend. All right. But again, it's going to be based off of what you do. And one of the quotes I tell my students, and I'm sure those are here will roll their eyes, law schools only know what we share with them. If you don't want them to judge you by your LSAT score, if you don't want them to judge you by your GPA, you got to give them something else. You got to give them something else. Otherwise, they're going to only go off of the information that you share with them. All right. And so I hope that the session was helpful. I'm so grateful for Reese joining us. And I hope to see a lot of you guys. Make sure you go to the link in my bio and sign up for our free study hall that we're going to be having tomorrow. Free 99 at 8 o'clock. You're going to see a video that's going to post right after this live. Make sure that you're there because I want to make sure that you guys get this to you. If you're struggling with the LSAT, if you're dealing with test anxiety, then you need to be there. It's free 99. All right. You register in the link in the bio and make sure that I see you there. Okay. So again, guys, continue to fight for your lawyer dreams. You are not alone in this fight. We created this tribe, this community to provide support for you along that journey. I'm always a DM away. So make sure that you reach out if you need help. Understand that you're going to be a lawyer. Period, right? And for those out there who may have been dismissed or in struggles, the only thing that's going to change, is your graduation year, all right? You got it, Nikita? You got it, Amaya? You got it, Lucky Maria? So again, thank you guys for joining us. For those who just joined us, make sure you go back and watch this because you are going to be blessed. I thought I wasn't going to take you to church, but we end up going to church on Wednesday. So again, peace and blessings to you all. And if you have any questions, you already know, shoot me a DM. I'm one DM away. Peace and blessings and keep fighting for your lawyer dreams. Take care.